Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we are outside in front of my garden, or what will be my garden once it's fully finished and planted. So in my last video, which I'll link up top here, I had a garden start with straw bales that I laid out, which I showed. I put cardboard over top my grass that was already here to make this raised system, and then I put dirt and compost over it to get started. Now, I didn't have enough materials and everything. I was kind of short a little bit, but also I wanted to let time for it to settle and everything so I can make sure there's no mistakes I made. There's a couple places that I've noticed where there's issues. So first off, if you look at the straw bales here behind me, you will see that there is some green coming out of these bales. I was expecting them to be straw, not hay bales. So it looks like most of them are hay, not straw, but there are some stuff coming up between them, which might have to be, I don't know if that's gonna take off or not, we'll see. But I was really hoping to really have straw bales and not have the seeds in them, with which you get with hay bales. So we'll see how that works out. Now, the other part is you can see some weeds and grass popping up through the boxes that I laid down. And really what I want to do is I want to fix that first. I want to lay down more boxes over them underneath the dirt that I already put there. So that way it's blocked off and I don't have grass growing up through my garden. And then I have, if you see over here, I have some white mulch bags. And I'm going to mulch, and then I'm going to get some more topsoil to add over top of that, or garden soil I should say, to add over top of the mulch. And then I'm going to put a layer of mulch on top of that. So we're going to build up this area. We're going to have it be ready for a garden. And as I said, this is a temporary garden. This garden's only going to be here a year, and then I'm going to drag all this apart and spread it through my yard and grow grass, because that's really what I'm supposed to be growing. It's just the fact that this area is pretty bad with weeds, and the soil's pretty bad to begin with. So it really needs this help. So and the other thing I'm going to add actually this time, now that I think about it, I actually have a bucket over here behind me, I think you can see it right here, is I'm going to add crushed eggshell and crab shell. I really want to get some calcium in here to help out with this and try to make sure that it's ready to go. So let me go and start by fixing those boxes and then adding the calcium in. I just dug up some of the soil here, and I'm quite amazed. There's a ton of worms in it. I wasn't expecting this, and most of the grass is underneath is dead. All right, so we're here at the box that I just dug up here, and as I move this around, first off, the cardboard underneath is really broken down. So you can see that the grass right there, but look at this, you can see right on top there's a worm that's crawling right now to hide itself. So I'm really shocked at how quickly the worms made it into this area. These are not my worms, my composting worms. These are earthworms. And they're probably all through this soil here, and because this is a mixture of soil and compost. And I think this did a really good job of, preventing stuff from coming up, but also just adding a lot of microbial growth and everything to the soil in this area. So I'm really excited about that to see. So I'm going to continue on here, but I wanted to show you before I covered up any more areas. So I've got more areas to cover up right there and over there and everything. So a few more areas to cover up, but it's doing really well right now. All right, now I'm going to add in some of this crushed up crab and eggshell. I am putting on my mask even though I'm outside. I just don't want to take a chance of getting this in my lungs. If you are doing the same thing, make sure you do this as well. Put on a good N95 mask. And by the way, I also have a video, which I'll link up top here, on how to process crab shell and how to process eggshell, both of which are really good for a grit for worms, but also great as a calcium supplement for your soil. All right, I let it sit out here for a little bit with the dust because I wanted to make sure that it really settled in. The ground is pretty wet and moist because we just had a massive rain here. So it's probably settled in by now. There's one other thing I did forget to mention at the front of this video. Compost, my vermicastings. I wanted to add these at the same time so it's underneath and in the root zone for all these plants once they get out here. So I'm going to add in a couple bucketfuls of this. I'm just going to throw it around in here and spread it around. This is a 2-gallon bucket. I've got my castings inside. The 55-gallon tote's a little bit too big to move out here with it being this wet. So I'm just going to go inside and grab buckets and throw them in here. Alright, so that's all the castings I really have inside the house. I like to keep a little bit inside the 55-gallon tote, so there's always a good amount of material in case I desperately need it for something else. So I have maybe 1 or 2 of these left in there. I've used some of it around my yard recently, so I just don't quite have as much, but it did cover a good portion of it. And this stuff is pretty concentrated as far as, you know, the microbial content. Now the key is to cover it up with some mulch, and then we're going to probably put some dirt and then another really fine layer of mulch on top of it so we can start planting seeds in it maybe in the coming weeks. So let's go, and let me go get my knife and we'll open up these bags and spread the mulch. Now, you're probably wondering why I added the mulch and then I'm going to add soil on top, which I still need to go buy the soil, by the way. But I'm adding the mulch underneath some soil, so that way there is like a texture underneath. So when the roots grow down, it's a nice, loose, open soil underneath with the mulch. They can grow down through that. The microbes can come up into the mulch and start eating away at it. And there's I think it's called hugelkultur or something like that, that talks about bearing large branches and everything. Now, I can't do that here because I really need it to break down pretty quickly. So I had extra bags of mulch. My scout troop that my son's in had sold some that people didn't pick up. So I went and grabbed them so that way we wouldn't get complained about. So it's great for me. I get this mulch. I still pay for it, but it's, you know, a little bit cheaper maybe. But I also help out my scout troop for my son. And I recommend if you have a scout troop nearby that you help them out by buying mulch if they are selling it. You know, because that's really good for your community and helps out those kids on trips and stuff. So a little call out to the scouts here for, you know, helping those out for those troops that are local. So, but here I've got the mulch in there. It's ready to go. Now we just need some dirt, and then I've got more bags of mulch up top. And I'm going to see about going to get those that dirt right now. So I'll be right back. All right, it's been a couple hours. I'm back. I've got some more bags of soil to add over all this mulch that I have here. I've got 7 bags. You know, not a whole lot. I'm not trying to make it real deep, just to add enough, and then I'm gonna add more mulch on top of it, so that way the seeds it can protect the dirt, and the seeds have something to kind of stay below without having a whole lot above it. So we'll see how well this works. I'm gonna start getting going, and I also bought 2 more straw bales down along the back there. I don't know if I'll need both of them or not, but I'm gonna leave it open a little bit in the back there, so I can also get in and out a little bit easier. So we'll see. But I want to kind of have the straw bales to block any rabbits I'm hoping from jumping in. So we'll see how it goes and where it goes. But let's start with the soil. Let's get that going. All right, as you can see, it's filled up quite a bit more. Air conditioning is running. I'm sure you can hear that in the background. But this is filled up quite a bit more. It will settle down a little bit as it gets wet, and we'll see how it does. I probably will plant seeds in it maybe next weekend. I want to get this to let this sit for a little bit, see if it heats up at all, because of, you know, the mixture of materials in there and some of the compost. It could mix up. I am going to probably put a sprinkler and start watering this, and I have to actually rake a little bit of the area in front as far as get this grass ready to grow, because our HOA requires a specific amount of grass to weeds, and it's getting kind of weedy, if you can tell here by all the dandelions coming in. But you know, I want to try to keep this nice and clean. I added the 2 bales behind. I was off slight bit on my curve, and I didn't want to be underneath the air conditioning unit, so I put it kind of straight back and then curved it inward. You know, and the next part is planting those seeds and then running the fishing line between these poles, so that way it kind of holds everything together. So overall, the seeds that I'm starting inside have not done very well. I might have to buy lavender for the front here. I'll have to get better with that as I go forward. I might try that a couple different times and see if I can get it to work for me. But this is the first time I'm trying it. You learn as you go. I've read lots of information. Thank you everyone for sharing information as far as who I should go to. But so I did buy a heating mat, and I bought a couple other things to try to help it out, but I'll still probably have to restart next year because it's getting too late to actually start seeds, I think, for the lavender. And the broccoli came up immediately and is already dying out because of the fact that it's too early. It came up too quickly and I wasn't ready to plant it outside, and it was ready to go. So we'll see how that goes later. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this. Hopefully I'll be able to plant the seeds next week, as I'm saying, and we'll see how this goes over the summer. We'll keep track of it. It's got compost in it. It's got crushed eggshell. It's got you know, my vermicast in it, or castings from worms, and then it also has some dirt and mulch, and there's mulch underneath, so I have it like layered, and hopefully this will break down and cause a nice organic layer. And there was worms as we were turning it. I was really excited to see that. I didn't think that the worms would be in the cardboard already, but they were breaking down that cardboard, and hopefully we blocked almost all the grass from coming up in here too for now. All right, just to give you an idea of how high this is, so you can see right there, that's about 16 inches high, and that's to the ground. And then over here on these, it's about maybe 4 inches, so I probably have about 10 inches of material behind it. You know, to really have this up and elevated. Now this is going to sink in quite a bit as we're going, I think, but that's okay. You know, and then towards the wall, I don't have it quite as deep over there, as you can see. I didn't want to have it really too far against the wall over there. And then in the back, I've got a place where I could step over to get in here without having to always step on the soil. So this won't grow anything right there. We'll just sort of keep that free. Now, and that's what's going on with this.